everyone, it is TooAwesome here with another video. So, I will be reviewing that hit game that just came out, right guys? Just came out. You know the one, right? Spider-Man PS4? Yep, that's what I was saying. Right? It just came out like 4 months ago. Yeah, totally not behind or irrelevant now. But anyway, let's finally review Spider-Man PS4.
Sleep it off.
Boy, does this game feel good. I mean, the swinging mechanics are gold. They bring back a lot of the elements from Spider-Man 2 and just completely polish them up. I mean, if you can't help but enjoy yourself when you're swinging through New York. And all the motions feel good to control, and you really feel the motion of every zip, boost, or swing. And as you progress through the game and start to really master the swinging, it almost completely blends with the game to the point where you don't even have to think about it. And on top of the swinging mechanics, the fighting controls are fantastic. This is probably some of my favorite and most enjoyable fighting mechanics I have ever seen in a game. I mean, it's just pure joy. I love how you always have to scan your surroundings before a fight just to see what objects you can use, because no joke, Spider-Man can basically die in 2 gunshots, which I think is a really cool idea in concept because, yeah, he should die in 2 gunshots. He isn't Iron Man in his suit, and he isn't the Hulk, so it just makes sense. And when I am playing a game, I really look to see if the fighting mechanics are good, since that is what I usually enjoy most about a game. And like I said before, you have to scan your surroundings before a fight, because this game wants to push the stealth mechanic as a big part of the game. But you really don't need to use it in most fights if it's not your style. Like, it's fun picking off enemies one by one, but most of the time I just charge in and start fighting. But of course, there are some missions that are fully use the stealth mechanic, and as in if you get spotted, it's game over. Most of these were on the side with Taskmaster, so they were optional, but there still were some that were mandatory for the story. But most of the stealth missions that you have to pull off are not as Spider-Man. They are as side characters such as Miles and MJ, and these are super boring. When you have to pull off one of these missions, the story comes to a grinding halt. These are so boring to play and just stop the whole narrative. Minor spoiler alert, the only one of these side character missions I liked was MJ in Grand Central Station. It really showed a new perspective to Spider-Man that I really enjoyed. Okay, minor spoiler over. Another minor annoyance was those stupid puzzles. And although they were not completely mandatory for the story yet again, some of them were, and it was super annoying and stupid. Honestly, if you got rid of them, what would happen to the gameplay and story? Nothing. To be honest, it would probably get better. But whatever, it really was just a minor annoyance anyway. Now to talk about the missions in general. The open world of New York offered a lot of missions and collectibles, some really great and fun, and others menial tasks that were less than extraordinary. The collectibles are backpacks, which if you collect all of them, award you with the Spider-Man Homecoming homemade suit, pictures of buildings, and pigeons, which you also have to collect to finish a mission. And all collectibles, once collected, give you a sort of token to help you upgrade and power up other suits and abilities. Now, the rest of the missions come in a few varieties, such as research stations, which you have to do a multitude of different tasks, such as stopping pollution or fixing the power grid, the Taskmaster tasks, which have you doing a few different things, such as stopping killer drones or fighting and stopping assassinations. There are also a few other missions, such as robbery missions, where you have to stop robbers or runaway cars and that kind of thing. Search and rescue missions, where you either have to save people from burning cars or from kidnappings. And the base missions, which come in a multitude of different varieties depending on how far you are into the game. Overall, the missions and collectibles were really fun, and I love taking them on in the open world setting, because you really got to choose which ones you wanted to do and when. And the real side missions were pretty fun too. Some of them were boring and got stale fast, but others were very creative and new, such as like the copy Spider-Man, which would impersonate you and try to do all the things you did, but eventually got in way over his head and you had to save him. I briefly mentioned this before, but the open world is amazing. I just had an amazing time going around New York and exploring, which it does offer quite a bit of. Overall, I thought the gameplay was really good and it had a lot of good elements mixed with a little bit of bad. Overall, gameplay gets a 9.8 out of 10. Now, there really isn't much to say here except the graphics are fantastic. I mean, this looks and feels like a living, breathing New York City. Everything just looks so good and had so much detail put into it. The way the day-night cycle actually affects the city and how good it looks in every state, especially during the night and when it's raining, it's just spectacular. From the way you can see inside buildings and see all the apartments to how the actual glass reflects the world around you, just shows how much attention and effort was put into this game. 9.5 out of 10.
If you know my moves, you know I'm gonna you.
Surprise me if you can.
To be honest, the DLC and updates are pretty good for this game, given that it is mostly a single-player experience. But that didn't stop the developers to give us a plethora of extra things to do once we beat the game. Personally, the only DLC I've played so far was The Heist, which was a pretty enjoyable thing to do, especially for the price of $10. To be honest, you got exactly what you paid for, and it did offer a solid 2 to 3 hours of extra playtime. So far, with my experience with the DLC, you get to unlock 3 new Spider-Man skins, a new story, and 3 more types of challenges. To be honest, I am not surprised with what they gave me, but was kind of underwhelmed with the challenges. They were basically reskinned versions of the challenges you got in the base game, with a little something extra added. That is probably the main reason why I didn't 100% this part of the DLC, because I really didn't find it as exciting as when I did it all the first time for the challenges in the main game. But for the price, you really can't go wrong. Also, we did get the Raimi suit for free, so that is a plus. But just a disclaimer, I am only scoring the DLC and updates on my experiences on the heist and the other small updates that the game received. 8 out of 10, I got what I paid for, but wasn't completely blown away. The single player and story in this game was fantastic. To be honest, this is probably one of the best Spider-Man adaptations ever. Everything about Peter, from the conversations to the quips to his actual problems, all of it was just fantastic. The story brought you on a long story telling about how one person can actually make a difference and how one person was holding the balance of New York on his shoulders. To be honest, I was very surprised with a lot of the twists in this story and was thoroughly enjoying myself the whole way through. The whole story was perfectly paced, had great character development and motives, and the screenplay and character interactions were fantastic as well. Whenever one villain was defeated, another one would come in and basically double the stakes, until all of New York and even the world was at stake. It was a perfect Spider-Man story and an even better Peter Parker story. And the story really helped me come back for more every time I turned on my PlayStation. Honestly, on top of the great gameplay mechanics, the story is just absolutely phenomenal, and I really can't speak all of its praises in one video unless you want to be here for hours. Overall, the single player and campaign get a 10 out of 10.
Go!
Overall, Spider-Man PS4 is a really fun game, and if you have a PS4, you should definitely pick it up. I just had a blast with this game, and I think anyone, even if you are a superhero fan or not, will enjoy this game. Spider-Man PS4 gets a solid 9.3 out of 10. But that is all I had for today. If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, make sure to hit that notifications bell. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media on my Instagram at TooAwesome_reviews. Link will be down in the description below. But as always, stay awesome, too awesome. Thanks for watching.